All right, is there anyone want to give their opinion about it? There's no Mr. Aji, so I hope that he's joined actually. Nothing, right? Okay, so Mr. Tama, I think you have something to say about it. How do you define the word LGBT is when the first time you heard about it?
Uni, by the way, in the one of Mr. Kibo, look at the participants. He raised his hand.
Okay, sorry. Wait. Okay,
Okay.
Mr. Indriwano, please. Time is yours.
Yeah, I just want to give the simple opinions that LGBT is like when you like each other and they like in the same genders. Yeah,
Okay,
that's
that is
it.
the thing that came up from your mind when the first time you heard about LGBT is, right? Okay, so Mr. Sunny, you raise your hand. Maybe you have some opinion about it, please.
Oh yeah, thank you so much for the time given. By the way, I'm so interested. Yeah, I'm so interested in talking about LGBT. Not because not due to the fact that I didn't experience it yet. No, no, no. It's just interesting how some people would like to fight to gain the freedom of opinions, to gain the freedom of acts, to be embraced, to be accepted as a whole. I think this is really important to discuss. In my perspective, LGBT is it's kind of how to say a different approach of sexual. Okay, so it's common thing to love in more straight way. For example, like man love women, women like love man, and man love multiple women, and women are huge fans into several types of men. I think that's pretty normal. But this comes of term raising in the surface of the public, and it actually break their attention and their acceptance perspective. And LGBT, in my perspective, just what has been said by Mr. Kibo before. That is like when you love your own type, your own gender. Okay, so for example, like man love man, girls love girls, and bisexual is like when you actually, when you, for example, I am as a man, I love men and women at the same time. It is called, it is called bisexual, which is like bilingual, by literacy, by it's kind of a symbol of two things. And transsexual, I'm not really sure about this. Probably some of the people would like to give more definitions to what that. I think, yeah, please do so. Okay, I think that's for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sunny. So the point of your statement is goes to the different approach of the way of people saying how they love each other, like they basically by their if there no one wants to deliver their opinion more about it, maybe I will continue the another question because we're actually feel this is a very familiar thing, and then we know that LGBT is the acronym that stood out for the lesbian, gay, and bisexual and transgender, and we know that it is exist in our country. It is really how to say like it happened in our country, even though we want to blame it, we want to deny it, but yeah, we see it exist in our society. So the actual second question that appear is this one. This question is actually from Mr. Sunny. I don't want to blame anyone here, but the question is really interesting. The question is, if you have a friend or a close one with you, but they do not tell you that they are LGBT or have an inclination toward that, will you, a person, want to accept them, or you want to reject them as the person that you know? I mean, like as your friends or as your family or even your teacher. So I want anyone give an opinion about it, and I really waiting for that kind of excitement. Please raise your hand if you want to answer the question. All right, no one just answer. No one just raised their hand first. So I think I would like to go through this question and I'm going to answer it because I should
Okay,
do it tonight.
Miss Yun, Mr. Angga,
Yeah.
and also Putri raises his hand. Mr. Angga
All
and also
right.
Putri.
I'm late to look at it.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Anga, you go first, please. Time is yours.
Well, thank you, Miss Uni. It is a very interesting topic for us because I think a discussion about LGBT is still taboo in Indonesia, right? That as you can see, that several people are discussing about this. Many people, like organizations, banned these discussions. But still, we need to discuss this specifically by using scientific explanation. We need to um, explain it and discuss it scientifically, not by using our um, hatred, right? Okay, when we are talking about LGBT, and when you, for example, support the movement of LGBT, it doesn't mean that you um, are a lesbian or even gay. First of all, I'd like to emphasize that I am heterosexual. So, which means that I like person who has a different gender with me. When, especially when it comes to sexuality. However, in my viewpoint, based on what I have read so far, LGBT is like they are categories of sexual orientation, in my point. Because right now we still see that a lot of people think that LGBT is like mental. However, the research conducted in 1999, there were a lot of or several scientific documentations saying that they have found the different orientations not only in humans but also in animals. In addition, in 2009, sorry, in 2006, there was a research conducted by Oslo University saying that they have found several other sexual orientations found in 100 and 1,500 animals back then. It shows that um, different sexual orientations are normal in our life. So that's why when we are talking about it, we need to look at the root why the lesbian or gay people want to sexuality, banning of the governments and other institutions, for example, but still they're still eager to express their sexuality. It's because the sexual orientation that I have said so far is normal, and we need to appreciate that. Okay, and yes, regarding to this question, what is the question? Sorry, where is the slide? If you have a friend close with you. Okay. So to be honest, I don't have a friend or friends who are close to me who are LGBT, but I know several people who are having this sexual orientation. I once communicated with him and her, saying that they are one of these movement, and I do appreciate, and they did express their feelings and opinions when we were discussing something scientifically, and I did not feel infected by them because, as I said, I am a heterosexual person, so it's not infected issue, but it's given by or from the um, born of the baby. And yes, that's my short opinions so far for now. Thank you, Miss Uni.
Okay, thank you so much. And I actually want to say sorry because my my connection is so bad and it just logged out suddenly. I'm so sorry. Okay. For the next participant, as there is Miss Putri. Miss Putri just raised her hand, so I hope she could join us on the discussion, please.
Okay, thank you. So actually, I have experienced this kind of moment. I have a lot of close friends which are gay and lesbian, and at first they don't want to come up with their orientation, but uh, uh, and then there are a moment that they accidentally open up with their orientation, but and they were afraid that I will unfriend them, but I think that it is not affect with our friendship, and I don't care about their social orientation as long as they are kind with me. So I still become best friend with my friends who are the LGBT now.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Putri. So it doesn't affect anything in your friendship, and I'm glad to hear that because you just accept them and let them to choose what they want. So in the participant list, there is Mr. Indriwanov and who is this? Okay, um, I would like to came up with Mr. Indriwanov first. Please, time is yours.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for the opportunities. So I suppose that I was involved, yeah, in this case or in these situations, basically, especially in 2009. And in these situations, there are two things that I'm done. First of all, I suggested them or I advised them to leave LGBT. And the second, there are the time that I supported them to still involved in that LGBTs. Um, yeah, I got that experiences is not in Indonesia basically, and even I became the matchmaker of the LGBT itself when I was in Korea when I was involved in UN Habitat several years ago in 2019, and uh, in the two things that I'm done when I supported them and also when I suggested them to leave. So the conclusions, I suppose that if you are in the countries that still unlegalize the LGBTs, it's better for you to advise your friends to leave the LGBTs. But several countries that give you a freedom, yeah, you will can freedom yourself. But another situation, if this is still in Indonesia, I suppose that it'll make your friend feel suffer when they still get that LGBTs exactly that get to like in the same genders. So this is the reasons that yeah, if you still have a chance, yeah, to give to make your friends avoid the LGBT, so this is better. This is one of the best way to make them will get the first date someday. because this country till now still say no to LGBTs.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. So get along with it, it will be okay. So the next speaker is Mr. Tama. The time is yours.
Okay, thank you for this opportunity. Basically, if we have to talk about it and also to answer this question, I need to come clean first. I need to be frank here because I was in boarding school for a long time, and what is that? I also came across with those kind of people. So related to the question, I need to say that I have to reject that. I don't. I mean, I try to stay away from LGBT members because of my own experience. I mean, when I was in boarding school, there were a lot of santri who was that who got that kind of sexual orientation. So I was about to become the victim also. So that's why, based on the experience, I try to stay away from that kind of people. Yeah, but I mean, it's just what is that? I just have experience with what is that? Gay guy? I forgot how to pronounce it. Yeah, but for lesbian, I have no idea. Perhaps I will try to welcome them. Yeah, that's it. Thank you very much.
Okay, Mr. Tama, you're very welcome. So on the list is there is Mr. Chico Ningil, or I don't know how to pronounce it, but please, time is yours.
Okay. Thanks. What is the question? Okay. Yeah. Regarding to your question, first of all, I wanna say we should define what is when we are a social creation and what is the LGBT coming from. First of all, I will say LGBT seems like paradigms or the way of thinking from certain people in the sexual what's that orientation. So it's what's that in the same word it seems like the what's that the illness that is in here for certain people, but when it's coming from like a friends or family, it will it has uh, it has been answered when I look at the media, and I really like ELC, and Ade Armando conducted the interview or like a survey among our citizens, especially where as same as your question, in the term of issue that there is a lot of money come from the international to fulfill or to enact the LGBT communities in Indonesia. And Mahfud MD said, we will accept it as the human, as a family or friend. But if it is coming from the paradigm, so we should cure it. So the mean is we will stay with them like friends or family, because it seems like if you have illness, so you should cure that, not to kill it. So yeah, the illness should be cured, not to be killed. The way that we avoid them, it seems like will be the problem in the social life, but the way that we always decide them, it will solution for them to make a great deliberation among this perspective, but not only from our paradigm but from their paradigms too. So it will be useful for Indonesia communities. And yeah, I think
Okay, thank you so much. So there is Mr. Sunshine that also raised his hand. So maybe one second thing here, please, time is yours.
Okay, thank you so much for the time given. Well, anyway, I'd like to comment. I'd like to comment on the comments of the people. Okay, just now I heard quite offensive. Okay, I don't know. It is quite a. It is considered as offensive or not. It is actually depends on um, our acceptance rate, right? Two words. The first is victim or victimized, and second one is infected. Okay, when you say infected, it's like a disease. It's like this kinds of pandemic things that can actually influence your health. And the second one is about victim. It means this kinds of understanding or notions can actually harm you, possibly in physical or mental state. So, okay, so this is actually kind of the big things how the acceptance rate of the people right now. And even though we clearly claim that we actually support this kinds of very existence when they actually live around us as our friends, as our teacher, as our family, and I also want to say the same thing as Mr. Tama before, or Sauri. He actually he said that he was like almost about to become victim. Okay, so yeah, I mean like when we consider someone as a friend and they actually open up about their their condition of how to say probably it's like different approach of sexual orientation. I'm sure that everyone can accept them as they are when they are as a friend, not more than that, or when they are, but when they become a part of your family, for example, like your sister, I'm sorry, your mother, your aunt, your uncle, your cousin, I think there will be a different significant treatments that you will put toward them, right? I think that this is, I just want to extend the discussion to be more in depth so that we can calculate what kinds of reactions of the people and how should we respond toward them. And of course, when you accept them as friend, okay, it will be the different idea if they consider you more than just a friend. They want to approach you as lover, for example. Uh, how will we actually respond to this kinds of imagination? Okay, or reality sometimes. Okay, so yeah, I think I just want to comment on that, and probably it can spark any questions and idea to respond to what my comments. Feel free to do so. I think that's for me. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Sunny, thank you so much for your opinion. So I would like to share something about the and I I never have any experiences like Mr. Tama, but I just want to say that there's also some people that we don't know that they are actually LGBT is, and then they define themselves quietly, and then I actually have a friend. We're not that close, but he's actually just identify himself as gay, but uh, the things that I couldn't relate with it as some of my friends, I mean like male friends, are disturbed by him. So when when I just have any comment about if I have a friend or a close friend that they are LGBT, I think I don't feel any. I don't think that I will be disturbed, but sometimes my other friends will be disturbed by them. So as long as that people, I mean like the person that has an LGBT community are just entered my society, but they don't have any negative effect or the drawbacks for me and my family. I think it is okay for me. Like I still will be friends with them. So okay, towards the next question, I would like to show this is the data that I found on the Pew Research Institute that gives one of the data that the acceptance rate of homosexuality. And Indonesia is also included of the country that surveyed on the percentage itself. So we can see that the increase, there is the increase the acceptance of homosexuality, even though it's only 6%. That it's a low, it's a low, but I just want you guys to imagine it more. I mean, like, the more feature will be coming, and how does this LGBT will be uh, suffered in this country. So, um, basically, from the previous data, I really want to ask you guys, why is their existence is actually, we can say that it's directly rejected in Indonesia. So, do you believe that as LGBT community have no rights to live in the society in our country? Please raise your hand if you have any opinion about it. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Imran Khan, you can go with your opinion. Thank you.
Should I speak now? Okay. I guess the accepting or being rejection is lot of how we see as a society. Like as every organism, be it humans or or to be over, like as a human, we want our generations to go and up. And for that fact, for generations to keep surviving, we need a pair, a male and female. We need so that they can sexual relationship, they can give birth to the kids, and then so on. Like the population can grow. In heterosexual relationship, it's quite complicated to have this basic fact to keep, because like even if somebody is lesbian, they can have baby. If somebody is gay, they can also have baby. But that would take kind of quite, how to say, complex thing. You will have to take in vitro fertilization or surrogacy, different approach, and that's and not everyone can do that. And and we have no like, if you ask should we reject them or not, I would say we are nobody to accept them or not, because it's like, see, like Allah made us. For me, I'm heterosexual. I don't feel kind of attraction towards another boy, no matter how handsome he is. If he, I don't feel a kind of relief. Quite handsome, but I never feel attraction towards him in terms of sexual orientation. And same happens for a normal girl. They will kind of have attraction towards a no. But in so all psychology, we are born with, we are born heterosexual, we are born bisexual, or we are disease. Like before I listen something about the, or like for uh, these things, like I would say it's not, you cannot cure it because it's not disease. It's not something like you get disease, you normally a normal guy, suddenly you get influence and you lesbian or you become gay. Happen like that. We are born heterosexual, we are born lesbian, gay. It's same. Like if you guys know the father of computer science, the guy who is known for evolving the computer science, Alan Turing. You may have heard his name also. Turing, the it's the Nobel Prize for computer science, Turing Award. So the father, he was also gay, and so prohibited being a gay, and he was given a medicine. The medicine never helped him to cure gay. It just made him depressed, and he, so cannot cure it. It's not a disease, and we are nobody to deny their rights because that's how Allah has made it. and they are not harming us. Like if suppose if somebody is a gay, he's not going to every boy, hey, be my partner. If there is a girl, she is not approaching any other girl. A gay or lesbian, they are also choosy like us. Like we don't, like I will not approach every girl or every other boy, even in heterosexual. Same, the gay guy don't approach every other guy. The lesbian girl don't approach every other girl. They only approach the person who they are interested in. Same like us. So we should let them live in society and just provide their human rights. Let them do what they want. It's because that's, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Evan. That was a very interesting opinion, actually, because I also imagine about it. So the next is Mr. Eka. Is that Mr. or Miss? I don't know.
Okay, you can call me Mr. or Miss. Fine. Okay, thank you, Uni, for the opportunity tonight. I think the answer will be the same, just like why female or women still fight or still struggle with their justice. Why is there? The question is like why existence is rejected because of the how to get a stigma, because of the dogma, because of the local wisdom, and also because of maybe is to how would you say is too sensitive. When I said it's because of the religion or belief, what we believe in Indonesia. So I think LGBT community, they are fighting two things. They are fighting for their existence. Also, they're fighting for their for the truth, because we see that what is that WHO already make a revision that they are not some kind of sickness or mental illness or something. And I imagine that because of our country still lack of knowledge about love or about desire. They just know our society just know the desire or how to say nikmat. They just feel that orgasm is just where our sexual is be in a relationship, something like that. So they never know that the meat of two tongue between man and man or woman and woman is also feel of full of love, something like that. So I think it's because full of dogma and then stigma and maybe some local wisdom or religion doctrine that sponsor why their existence is rejected in our society. And also after I see that I saw the survey. The survey is increasing on acceptance LGBTIQ. It's because maybe we or the younger the youth generation in Indonesia or already receive how to call it globalization, that they see what happened in Europe, United States, that legalize about LGBT and something. And also it's because maybe we after Reformation in 98 we still struggle to define about democracy or about our nation point of view, Pancasila, something like that. Because in Pancasila or in Undang-Undang Dasar 45, and also we agree that we are in democratic situation. We agree to implement democracy, but we still struggle to define what actually about what is a democracy or what is all about. So I think maybe because of we still how to say we're still afraid move from authoritarian regime to democracy era, that makes LGBT also suffer with their existence or their fight for freedom. And also, I think I have an answer for your first slide that you asked about what is LGBT. So I think the answer is what is LGBT. LGBT means freedom and justice. Thank you, Miss Yuni.
Uh, the next is Miss Putri because Mr. Kibo just speak before, so sorry, but I want to give Miss Putri please.
Okay, so I think it's because of many LGBT is always associated with kumpul or the sex. So that's there are people who still LGBT, and also in development country they are against the LGBT because the religion doctrine and stigma also. I think that's it.
Okay, thank you, Miss Putri. So Mr. Kibo have been waiting. Please, Mr. Kibo, time and place is yours.
Basically, in my opinion, people in Indonesia still the several LGBT member things. First of all, the majority of Indonesian are Muslim, and then others there is no Muslim in this accepted LGBTs because it's one of the sin if it's all about religion. And the second is because of Asia. So if it's all about the education Asia in the big scale, actually in Indonesia, um, Indonesian doesn't know about the LGBT from. Several people in Indonesia is Angga that haven't done about what is LGBT come from and others. And let's make the people Imran trying to speak what is the LGBT mean in this until in others. But in fact, yeah, the sex education five as a people will think, ih apaan sih. So this is their is because of the sex education in our country is still taboo. Many people, yeah, many people in Indonesia still the LGBTs. If it's all about in the societies, yeah, but especially in the religions, of course, absolutely, LGBT, the things that are been not accepted by that religion exactly. So my conclusion, two things: the educations in our countries, and the second is so this is the
Okay, Mr. Kibo, thank you so much. Okay, let's summarize it. There is that Mr.
Okay, Mr. Angga first. Oh, Mr. Hu. Yeah.
Got me, sir.
Okay, anyone. Okay, you are first maybe.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I would focus on my friend. So, he is the man, but because of his friends are effeminate, and now because he used to be effeminate, is like when his life is beneficiary. He make online transaction transaction about bit. For now, I do agree with Terinda. It's like Indonesian lacks Indonesian uh, so for my friend until of with him environment parents right now, yeah, till he has transaction he between my and his customer environment to the youth generation money I will give the money but my uh, consciously it's like he or that it's very generation, yeah, just it what I got from my friend because of he is one person. This is it. Thank you. Thank you, Miss Uni.
Okay, welcome. So it's about your friends' online transaction. So I would like to go to Mr. Angga as the last question. But we have to move to question after this. Please.
Okay, thank you, Miss, opportunity. Try to explain as best the perspectives in as far as I'm concerned, in our system, which is capitalism, it always needs to high paid um, and lowestly. So I don't know what to say, but in our system, there is always of the fresh workers, right? For example, if we don't have the workers to run the industries, to run the economies, our societies will collapse, right? So that's why if some people, especially who reject this issue, they assume that if we accept this LGBT, that for the future, because LGBT people give a birth, birth of humans, right? So that's why they decided it's related to the future of the workers running the industries. Secondly, in my assumption, it is about scapegoat. You know, for example, there are several cases in Indonesia and politicians blaming their problems in their regions due to LGBTQ movement. One of say, but I don't want to mention the politicians. There is UTE here, but if you read the articles about this, they the problems in their regions because um, our communities or our regions, there are a lot of LGBT people in our regions, right? That's why we are cursed to have disasters, to have poverties, and so forth. But if you think it, the disasters, it's not, it doesn't happen because of the LGBT, right? It happens because of the bad policy made by the governments. Like they always own the companies in the Middle East and so on and so forth. So it's about people who are LGBT, but it's not about, it's about policy, and they also want to cover up the corruptions of their area. So in my assumption, it blaming LGBT is too easy to escape from the real problems of our societies. So yeah, that's my second point about these issues. Why their existence is rejected in our society. Yeah, it's like additional from the previous one. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Angga, thank you so much. May I highlight that that things is not as up right in our country because many people made it as jokes that this kind of things is disasters come because you done this way. Okay, thank you. So for the next question, I came up with this question. So we've talked a lot about it. I mean about LGBTs and how the society will accept or reject them, and kind of things that basically from the experience or others. So in your in all of the speakers' opinion, I actually want to ask that what is the worst and the best impact of accepting them into to live comfortably around the society in Indonesia. Back to the opinion that before we say that there is the Muslim majority in our country that make people sometimes think that LGBT is something that very bad and should be bullied. Is there any speakers want to speak first? Please raise up your hand. Or this is Mr. Chikuning Ilya, have been raised his hand since the previous question. I don't know if you mind to speak, just unmute your room, please.
Yeah. Okay. For this question, yeah, I think all of thing or the entire thing that will be the issue, especially for international communities, will be there is the advantages and also disadvantages about that. And the worst thing that will be happen, perhaps I would emphasize how the other paradigm and also way of thinking of communities will be came up with the forthright based on democracy. For example, like if we accept the LGBT in Indonesia, so all of the communities like terrorism, HTI, PKI, and all of thing entire thing in this Indonesia, so will come up with their vote because we have right for this. Yeah, yeah. So it will be collapse. I mean, not only from disaster that is coming from perhaps from politician or the cleric from the Islam, but also there is the problem of social, especially when we talk about Indonesia, because we have a diversity of communities here. And the best thing that we will get from this thing is I would like to emphasize how novel as the writer of Homo sapiens said. They said um, the what's that? The existence of our community will be developed or thrive. For example, like in the past, we utilize our hands to climb on the tree. But nowadays, we utilize our hand to play a piano. How to pronounce it piano? Play a piano. Because there's the other function of our hand. In the other hand, we utilize our feet to march in the long way. But nowadays, we utilize our feet to take a gas for the car. So there's the what's that? The revolution of the utilizing thing in the in our capabilities, especially for humans. And he said it will be better when we accept for this. Then we should what's that? We should maintain the radical perspective for every single religion. But I would like to. It seems like we are playing the what's that? The sense. How to say akal? We're playing the argument or deliberation sense of our knowledge, how we should accept this. But in the other time, we can also utilize our sense to discuss or prohibit this thing. For example, like I would like to come to how the Islamic law is enacted. For example, we have a theory that is called by Maqasid Syariah in Islamic law. So there are several things that will be this thing will be useful for the commodities based on the five categories. The first is the first is hifjuddin or saving your religion, and the second is hifju soul, hifju nafsi or saving your soul, and the third is saving your equal or, and the fourth saving your descendants, and the fifth is saving your wealth. And all of the um, all of religion prohibit this thing, especially for Indonesia, because we not only say in the Islamic perspective itself, but there are a lot of relation between political interest and the Islam. For example, how Jokowi inaugurate the vice president as what's that? Ma'ruf Amin, because there is the vote that will be came up in the every single general election, and also how there are a lot of things that was the combination between religion and nation in this country, the not only from the Islamic, but also how the hate is prohibited, and also FA perhaps, uh, because we should maintain also another religion in our country. So that is the thing that I can say in this occasion. But I really appreciate how Ota bring this thing, and you as the moderator, Miss Uni, because when we talk, because Indonesia don't have the place to educate people, and this place educate us to how we emerge the great deliberation in this session. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. So there's Mr. Indrawan who have been raised his hand. I'm gonna give you time, please. Time is
Yeah,
yours.
thank you. So yeah, right now we talk about the impact, and I'd like to start it from the worst impact if the LGBT still is legalized in our countries. First of all, yeah, it's talking about we will lose our, how to say, jati diri, as uh, the Muslim countries with their population is the first, and the second is we will get the youth crisis, because if there is LGBTs, and I suppose that the rate of births will be decreasing, and the several youths will get a decreasing, and but also in other hands it will give the positive impact for our countries, and because we can manage the population in our countries, that in the several regions of Indonesia we get the population, one of them in Jakarta, and the several areas in Java. And the second, this is my dream actually, but I don't know when we talk about it, when we try to open our minds. Uh, my dream is I want to make the sin district of Indonesia. Yeah. So back then, Indonesia have suggested Pulau Seribu as as the sin district of Indonesia, that all of the sins is allowed in that island. So when you arrive in that island, you should agree about the kind of the scenes that your countries before uh, not legalize it. For example, it's like casino, it's like prostitution, it's like LGBT and all the things. So we try to create the island of freedom, yeah, the island of freedoms that make many people in the several of the world, they will be interested to come to Indonesia because they want to feel it. So what is the impact afterward? The impact is it will try to decrease the economic sectors of Indonesia. One of them what's happening in China right now, because one of the biggest income of China, yeah, after export import and their products, uh, that is entertainment that coming from casino. Yeah, one of them is Hong Kong. Hong Kong is one of the countries that more than 60% or 70% of their income is coming from the entertainment is like casino, prostitution, and others. So these are the reasons that we will try to create the new places, the new spot, how to make Indonesia will get the income. One of them, we create that scene of history. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Kibo, thank you so much. That's a new information for some people here who doesn't know about it yet. So, leaving these questions, I actually want to move to another question and also the statement here. Like, we'll talk about the development and the increasing level of the LGBT community in our country, but due to the development of the community, so we have been talked about it before. So I will skip this part because we're told that how do these LGBT people will receive their rights or they have their rights yet or not, but we have talked about it. So I'm going to the next steps questions. All right. So I've read some article. It's from NBC Indonesia. So I found there is an interesting statement that also say that there are parents who are actually afraid that their children will be transgender, gay, or lesbian, and some things that are related to LGBT. So that kind of statement is actually exist in our country. But when we just look back into our opinion before, like we say that the LGBT should be free and others, but in the other hand, I think that this kind of statement is also good for the young people, but besides, it also have a different side. I mean, like for the parents, they have a different mindset, so that open-minded that people ever mentions before in our society have been covered by this. But in another hand, we also know that this kind of statement also covering a lot of children and a lot of the youngsters in the future. So this is the next questions that came up after that. Just imagine it. Don't even think that you are, or if you want, just do that in your future. But this question is came up: if you are an LGBT, will you fight for your existence to be admitted or accepted, or you just want to surrender to your fate and remain? Why? And how did you suffer for it? Please raise your hand if you're just interested to answer this question. Or maybe I'll mention some people here. Oh, Mr. Sun, you want to say something? Okay, you go first, right? So after this, I will looking up for some of my friends here because they doesn't say anything yet. Please, Mr. Sunny, time.
Okay, thank you. So if I am an LGBT, okay, so far, yeah, I believe it depends on the circle where I live or where I am being surrounded first, because the acceptance, the confession means the rejection of acceptance. Acceptance and rejections will impact on how they are going to treat you, and that's why so many people are afraid or feeling deep insecure about what they want to say before acting or before deliberately expressing their own intention. And if I am an LGBT, probably for now, I will surrender to my fate and remain. I mean, like, I will disclose any information so that I am actually LGBT, because the rate of people that actually accept this kind of phenomenon is very little. And of course, as what has been said by Imran before, that those kinds of LGBT people will will be attracted. I mean, like, drawn near to the one they consider can keep up close with them. I mean, like, it's like when you actually love someone, it's like there is a calling of heart that you and him, you and her can both unite it. Okay, can like bond it closer, and it's like the calling of the heart, and no matter the gender, the sexes. So I believe that the acceptance will be determined by how can our emotion be channeled, and how we actually can channel them toward the appropriate person. Okay, so yeah, basically LGBT is like, you can also perceive that those people actually like an LGBT as well. I'm like, yeah, it can be they have the tendency to become a lesbian, gay, bisexual, transcendent, queer, or anything something like that. Yeah. So yeah, in short, I believe that for now in Indonesia, if I am LGBT, I surrender to my fate. I will close my mouth. Okay, I will rely so much on my intuition. Okay, to express my own feeling. I think that's something. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Sunny, thank you so much. I will choose the same way though. So there is Mr. Angga and Mr. Eka have been raised their hand, but I'm so sorry first. I would like to go to another speakers that never speak up yet. So there is Miss Risma Febriani. I hope you want to say some words about it. Please, time is yours. You there, Miss Risma? Or maybe I will move to other misses here, like Miss Livia. Are you in?
I'm on the side of the road, so is it okay if it makes so much noise? Okay, so in my opinion, like the LGBT community in Indonesia is they're really active, whether the government or the society wants to accept them or acknowledge them or not, they still exist. Seem seem like so many left-handed people or a lot of minority people that maybe a lot of people have the judgmental perspective towards them, but yeah, they still exist anyway. It's the difference is just their faith. It will become better if the government wants to give them some freedom, like freedom to express their feeling, the freedom to love whatever they want to love, or freedom to marry. But as I see, like in Indonesia, so many ignorant people. Like, yeah, I don't blame anyone, but I just want to share that if there are still so many like ignorant and you know sometimes not not so intelligent people still living in Indonesia, so they always gonna be rejected because yeah, it's hard to accept the differences like between even when you say something not really taboo like left-handed and right-handed people, our culture, our tradition is always dreaming the child who was born with left-handed, and they say that your left-handed is uh, dirty. You cannot use that for like giving something to the other people or feeding you. So yeah, it's gonna be bad for their psychological side and psychological feeling. So I think yeah, whether it will be accepted or not, this still exist. So I don't give further comment. I cannot give another comment about this. Thank you.
Okay, Miss Livia, thank you so much for your participation. So there is Cecilia Angelica, one of my friends. Maybe you want to say something about it. If you are an LGBT, will you fight or Sachel? You there? Okay, so I would like to back to Mr. Eka because he have been raised his hand since a few times ago. Time is yours.
Okay. Thank you. Maybe it's this is the good question actually this night, and you bring us to we have to like imagine or fantasizing something that will actually will happen in future. Okay, let me answer it. I think I will not fight for my existence to be accepted, because as long as I live and live free and can maintain or can, how to say it, like defend myself from the stigma or dogma or local wisdom, etc. I think I think my existence already exists, something like that. But what I fight, what will I fight? I will fight for democracy, because democracy will provide my existence as an LGBT, and for that I try to, this experience I got when I was in Pakistan. There is a LGBT community, but they are full undercover. We don't know how many they are. We don't know where their place, or we don't know how they get their daily basis, or how they do their life, something like that. I think I will make something like that, just like in Pakistan LGBT community. I think I will call pasukan, and then another LGBT LGBT people, and then make sure we have a strong community as a tool to defend ourselves as a citizen. And then after we can maintain our daily life, and then our future, or our, how to say it, like um, our 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 community as LGBT. I think the time will come to for us to declare ourselves, to say that we also have rights as a citizen, because in Indonesia, as long as I know, we still a republic country, we still a democracy country. So that means we have to be tolerant to everything that a person or a citizen to be choose as a liberal, or as a libertarian, or as a communist, or as a socialist, or also as a LGBT, something like that. So I think I will not fight for my for accepted, but I will fight for democracy that provide my existence, something like that. And the second question, maybe I will not answer it. Thank you, Miss Yuni.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Eka. I find a very interesting statement from Mr. Sun here. As long as we pay taxes, the rights should be properly managed by the government. Okay, so wait, I will look into the participant. Okay, Mr. Anga raised his hand, but Mr. Anga, wait, hold on, okay, hold on a minute. I want to give one of my friends give his opinion here. Raka, please, time is yours. Raka, you there?
Hello.
Okay, time is yours, Kak.
Can you hear can you wait. The question is, if you are an LGBT, will you fight for your existence, or to be admitted and accepted? Well, in my opinion, if I part of LGBT community live in Indonesia based on religion, I better be like surrender, and I just give up, because there's no way that I can be accepted in this country, even though my motto of life is be yourself and never surrender. But if the case is like this, sorry, if the case is like this, I better surrender and just give up, because uh, except majority of Muslim in Indonesia is not accepting LGBT in Indonesia, the other religion like Christian and Hindu, the 5 other religion is not accepting the LGBT. So I better be surrender and just give up. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Raka, for your participation. Okay, so Mr. Angga, where are you? You still
Yes,
want to
yes.
raise your hand or not? Okay.
Can I,
Before
Miss
we
Yuni?
move, okay.
Okay. Okay. First of all, the truth and the goodness are not judged or measured by the majority, in my opinion, but they are measured by the objectiveness, the truth, the wisdom, and so on and so forth. So if you think that something that you are fighting for is true and right for you to fight for it, I think you should do it. It doesn't mean that when you, for example, you are talking about women's rights or issues. Men can also fight for it, right? So it doesn't mean that if you are a man, you don't talk about woman issue or woman's right. So it's not about whether you LGBTs, women or men or not. But in my viewpoint, it is about the objectiveness, about the wisdom, the truth, and the wealthy of the people. Um, Learning or looking at the rights of the LGBT people in other countries, especially developed countries like America, Australia, New Zealand, and so on and so forth, which have acknowledged the rights of LGBT people. As far as I'm concerned, their rights that they have so far has been struggled or fought for ages. As far as I'm concerned, it was from 1960s and 1970s. So what I'm saying is that so their rights that they have right now has been struggled for long. So when you wanna reach or accomplish the objectiveness, the rights of the people, we need to fight for it for ages. It's not a shortcut, I think. So it's a long way to go. Even in the developed countries right now, in 1870s, they in the past even really blamed the people having different sexualities. Like if you can see the history or read the history of them, some LGBT people even were burned or tortured, right, by the countries back then, because the majority of their societies were religious people or Christianities, if I'm not mistaken. But right now, because they have fight for their rights for ages, they can live in peace now in several countries in the world. Even some of the people having different sexualities have become their majors, their governors, right? And so on and so forth. They even lead some companies as well. It's because the struggles that they have fight for it for ages. Yeah, that's that I wanna say, Mr. Sorry, Miss Uni.
Okay, Mr. Angga, thank you so much. So we're gonna leave this kind of question. We're gonna move into a different one. So, okay, this is the statement that I've got a previous time ago that in Indonesia, LGBT communities viewed as a moral threat condemned by religion and increasingly by law. And it has been mentioned by all of you guys before. So I have been came up with this question before. So, do you actually believe that accepting or rejecting them is strongly related to the open-mindedness of people? I mean, like when you just accept them you can say that you are an open-minded person, or why when you just reject them, you are also open-minded. So what is that open-minded itself in your perception about this LGBT? How come that this kind of things is related? Please, time is yours. Anybody want to speak, please raise your hand. If there is no one, okay, it's okay. Okay, Mr. Chikone, time is yours.
Okay, what's it? Open-minded. Okay, the term of open-mindedness, I think it's come from the value that we can figure out our perspective, way of thinking, paradigm, paradigm, and also our doctrine to be evaluated by others. So it's mean the because we will difficult or really tough to value ourselves or our perspective based on our subjective. So that is the one point. And the second point is, I think the open-minded is seems like the term that can influence how we call in English kemaslahatan. They can influence the benefits, perhaps it will be. Yeah, it will influence the benefits for our communities, because I always acceptance the word from Quraishi Shab. They said the God doesn't teach us. The 10 is accumulated by 6 plus 4. But the God asks us how the 10 could be. It will be 1.9, and it will be 2 plus 8, and it will be 11 minus 1. So that is the value that all of human can catch up with the integrity and intelligence.
Okay, Mr. Thank you so much for your statement. And then I would like to bring the last questions that I actually include in the slide. So this is the question, right? Regardless of being accepted or rejected in this by the society, is there any solutions that the audience here have to forward these LGBT people to improve their quality of life while they are rejected or accepted in the society? Please raise your hand if you want to answer the question. Okay, Lydia, please answer the question because you have been raising your hand here.
Yeah, I think that because of so many people are disagree with their existence, especially in this country, and they are always gonna be the scapegoat of everything that happened in this country. So better if they are behave well and show their best manner in order to make people understand that they are not as dirty as the other person think about them. Like they should show their kindness and that they are willing to be a good citizen, and not all of them are sinners like doing free sex or something like that, because what the media show to the to the public is that LGBT people is always bad. Like they always do things, never do even any good things or make any achievement in their life. So they have to fight for that uh, misleading perspective. So rather than they act like what they are expected to in a bad way, so they should give like the the best side of them, like being a person who can inspire the other, show their achievement and their making sometimes can be making charity, because I know a lot of the organization of like the LGBT community also do charity and also give back to the community, to the poor people, but not there is no media that make some news about that. So I think they should do good and be good. Thank you, Miss.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Livia, for your opinion. And I strongly agree with the opinion of Miss Livia that the point is how that LGBT people, by their community or their personality, will behave in the society as long it just far from the stigma that have been appeared in our society, everything will be okay. I hope it will be really happen for them that in that term of condition. Okay, not for the people here that want to be like them maybe, or someone's already being like them here. But I just want to say that I'm also a heterosexual person, so I just normal like so because I've been talking about this topic a lot in a different forum. So a lot of my friends just think that I'm the part of the LGBT community, but I'm not. I'm actually not. So I think this is the last side of my uh, presentations tonight and our discussions tonight. I'm so sorry for a lot of the how to say kekurangan. I forget it. Yeah, some things like that. I'm so sorry because it feels like kind of awkward because it has been a long time I don't do some things like this. And thank you so much for Ota and Mr. Sunny have been contact me and asked me to do this. And I just want to say thank you so much for a lot of help on this community too. So I would like to bring it back to Mr. Sunny. Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, I raise my hand. Okay. Yeah, thank you so much for Miss Yuni for leading us into really interesting discussions about LGBT. This is a really good, and I believe there are so many things that we can discuss together. Probably we can manage to have an interesting, a deeper, or further topic in this kind of discussion. Okay, so there are several things that I'd like to share to you guys. This is only very little, yeah. So yes, it will be like this one. As you can see, uh, there's some people who say that will can. Okay, so when we have two auxiliaries, we need to convert the second one into modal auxiliary. I mean, like the same auxiliary that have the same meaning. Okay, another type of auxiliary that has the same meaning. For example, like will can should be stated like I will be able to. Okay, it's like aku harus aku mungkin harus ya I must might it can be said like I may have to say something like that. Okay, so another word is nikmat is enjoyment, pleasure, comfort. The second one will be maslahat. Maslahat it can be interpreted as interest or benefit. And the last but not least, kekurangan, throwback. Okay, drawback or likeness, yeah, it can be used to express our kekurangan. Okay, so guys, thank you so much for your attendance. I hope that you guys will still join us in the next discussion next week, and we're going to have a really interesting topic for the next week. I don't know, so let's looking forward to further fascinating discussions on that. Okay, so before closing, I'd like you guys to open the camera. We're going to take pictures together. So make sure you open the camera. Okay, so yeah. Okay, Mr. Rangga, Januar, Cecilia, Angelica, Rivalita, Risma, Okay, please raise your hand. Please open the camera. Okay. So ya. Okay, semuanya. Riselia, Revalita, Risma. Okay. Okay, guys, are you ready? So on the count of three, yeah, 3, 2, 1. I'm sorry. Okay. One more time on the count of three, but I put on the count of one. I'm sorry. Okay, next. Once again. Okay, different pose on the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, guys, before closing, I'd like to say, help Ota. Okay, yesterday we say tomorrow. Okay, thank you guys. See ya.
See you,
Yeah.
sir.